Yo, Cody seems sus, man. This SmackDown kicked off with our WWE champion Cody Rhodes, and Cody asked if he should apologize. Then Drew came out and says, "Hold your apologies," and says that the crowd is brainwashed by corporate Cody. But then that's when Jimmy comes out and attacks Drew, setting up for a no holds bars later in the night. The MFTs interrupt to face Phoenix and Shinsuke. And to me, I love how Shinsuke is getting cheered again and got his song going and the crowd singing along again. And honestly, I love how the whole MFTs look with the face paint as well, giving that New Japan Bullet Club like feel. And then that's when the ref wasn't looking, Tala Tonga hit Phoenix with a choke slam outside of the ring, rolling Phoenix back in the ring, leading for Tama Tonga to use his hidden blade for the win. Backstage, Julia was interrupted by Alba Fire and the first ever WWE's Women's U.S. Champion, the longest WWE's Women's U.S. Champion, the prettiest WWE's Women's U.S. Champion, and the first ever Canadian American WWE U.S. Women's Champion being Chelsea Green. Her words, not mine. And ultimately, they were trying to recruit her to the team. And then that's when Kiana James walks in to tell Chelsea to leave Julia alone and that she has a match against the Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton. So we got the Buff Bar Read All Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James. And honestly, I love in the beginning of the match how they had like a gymnastics feel out rather than actually, wrestling feel out usually in the match. But I love to see that Kiana had a longer match than that squash match she had against Michin and how she lost in that. But ultimately, Tiffany landed a swanton bomb into the prettiest moonsault ever to secure the win. After the match, Julia laid out Tiffany just for our returning muscle mommy, Jade Cargill, to come out and save Tiffany. And everything was sweet and everything. But just for Jade to attack Tiffany and then held up the Women's Championship right after. Well, honestly, I love it because this kind of reminds me of when she was in AEW and she recruited the baddies, Red Velvet and Sierra Hogan, I believe. And she had that run she had. But also, it's just in my opinion. I feel like her looks, how she looks and how she acts, just like a natural heel ultimately. But then that's when backstage Kathy Kelly caught up with Jade and asked Jade why did she do that, and Jade ultimately says that she's tired of waiting and is going for the women's championship, and nobody else is going to stop her. Backstage, Sammy was congratulating Dragunov about their match they had last week. Honestly, 5-star match, but like I said, second best U.S. title match that Sammy had. First being Phoenix. And ultimately said to Dragunov that he's the guy to hold the championship. And then we got the entrance of our new U.S. champion, Ilja Dragunov. And he ultimately told the WWE Universe in a heartfelt message of how recovery has slowed him down and he thought he'll never, return, and how he didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And ultimately he said that tonight that was going to entertain them is pain. And then we got the U.S. Open Challenge with Aleister Black accepting with Zelina Vega by his side. The newly paired duo. I love it. And as soon as I heard the song, I was so hyped to see these first ever two go against each other in a match ever. And honestly, their styles are so different, but they mesh so well too. Because Dragunov, he kind of has that heavy hitting, kind of like a mini Gunther ultimately that can move really well. And then you got Aleister, who's like that kickboxing, hard hitting type of fighter as well. And they just mesh together so well. And I just loved it so much, man. And Aleister had the match control to the returning Damian Priest interrupted, and Dragunov hits his Torpedo Moscow to retain. And then that's when Damian was about to concerto Aleister on the announce table, but then Zelina Vega interrupted and helped Aleister in her escape from the brutal attack. Then backstage, we had an interview with Kathy Kelly interviewing Carmelo Hayes, and with Melo saying how he's even with The Miz since last week after he attacked The Miz. Him attacking The Miz last week and The Miz attacking him last week. It just kind of is even fit now. Then that's when Kit Wilson interrupted and said how he's being hyper masculine, and then Melo challenged him next week to have a match. Dragunov was greeted backstage by Fraxium and told him how they're coming after the U.S. Championship. Then that's when DIY showed up, teasing Fraxium, making fun of them, and ultimately called them an animated tag team. And then that's when Fraxium challenged them, as in DIY, to a match, but then DIY backed up before they could even finish. Then afterwards, that's when Tama Tonga came out of nowhere, and by saying Charlotte and Alexa was getting interviewed, but was interrupted by Nia Jax, who ultimately saying how Alexa Bliss is going to eventually backstab Charlotte, or the other way. And Alexa didn't really like that and challenged Nia to a match next week. Then next was the main event with Drew and Big Jim No Holds Barred match. And it was a very entertaining match. And also, I think we can agree that Jim is better than Jay in ring and on the mic. Let's just imagine if Jim had the yeet first. That would have been out of this world. There were some cool moments during the match, like Jim putting Drew through the table, and Drew also tossing a chair at Jim after going for the Uso splash, and then following with the Claymore to pick up the dub. Afterwards, Drew choked at Jim with the chair. Therefore, Cody came out to help, but then got laid out with the Claymore by Drew, who stood tall at the end. For me, I would love if Drew wins against Cody at Saturday Night Main Event, but then I don't want Cody to lose the championship because he just got it back against Cena at SummerSlam. And also, this reign can go somewhere. It could really be something. Plus, his last last reign was lackluster. And if Cody turns heel, he might can reboot his reign. Like, just imagine how Cody was heel, if y'all remember, during the Being the Elite short videos they had. Imagine if a heel Cody in WWE, still American Nightmare, everything like how he was in Japan too. That would be crazy, funny, and just different ultimately. Just like that would be so good. A heel Cody. And also, I think Cody attacked Jacob as well. People are saying, Randy or Drew, and Drew saying Jim. But I don't think it's Drew, because if it was Drew, he would just easily said it was him. Like how he took out Punk at Chicago last year, and how he just took out everybody else. He despised the bloodline, but I don't think he'll beat them up just to hide it. I feel like he's one of those people to actually say, like, yeah, I took him out and want to face Warheads on. Thank y'all for watching. And as always, much love. Take care. Keep the good times rolling.